Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to Chicago. How you doing here? Yeah, look at the beautiful day we got here. You know, I just want to head through the park here. You know, we went through the park this morning. I live next to Lincoln Park here. This is one of my favorite things about living here. I got a big lake here. We got a free zoo. We got the North and South Pond. I want to walk over towards Diversey Harbor to see if there's how many boats are already put in there. I always see the boats going. This time of the year, they're heading from west to east, Fullerton and Diversey, as people launch their boats there and put them in Diversey Harbor. Hey, Sharon, how you doing there? Anita, thanks for tuning in. Michael Anderson. And we'll let people gather here. Naya, thanks for tuning in there. Stephanie, see where we're at here. This is the Fullerton and Lakeview. Lakeview becomes Sheridan. This is near Clark and Fullerton. There's the Mies van der Rohe building. And the patricians there, and they added this nice little roundabout seating area here. They concreted this path over. Stephanie, how you doing there? Sarah, you're bringing your kids to the zoo on Sunday. Hey, it should be nice weather this weekend. Yeah, they're good. The park's great. Michael, thanks for being on. Everybody there. Yeah, they're turning the Buckingham Fountain on tomorrow, May the 10th. Yeah, we checked out those trees. They're just beautiful. I just want to document this here for you. You know, see, we got the bright sunshine. Hey, look, the kids got their little Ewok there. Look at that. That's great. It's a cute little bear. And yeah, they're going to turn the Buckingham Fountain on tomorrow, noonish, 12 o'clock. There'll be other live streamers there. I hope to get down there and cover it. Should be bright sunshine. Sunday should be great to go to the zoo. I saw You Should Eat was there yesterday. I wasn't able to watch it, but I saw she was there. And look at these interesting buildings here on Lakeview. This bright sunshine there. Lambie T, how you doing there? Thanks again, everybody, for your kind words and the condolences for Diana, our late great moderator there. And you know, now I understand. You know, Michael, isn't that amazing? Yesterday, I didn't realize it at the time because I'm kind of slow with the comments, as people know. And now in hindsight, like you said, I didn't realize somebody in all caps yesterday when we were starting our walk there before Daily Plaza, they alluded, they're like, you don't even know, you're not even talking about it. And I'm like, what are they talking about? And they must have known because, you know, she passed away in the morning. And it was leaked out, but we were waiting for the family. We were working with David. David's her nephew, and he was messing it up. And of course, they were grieving themselves. I mean, give the family time to grieve here, you know. And so eventually, David messaged us and told us what happened. We were going on the last information they gave us yesterday, which was overnight, and they were hopeful she was improving. I didn't realize she was on life support. Houston Medical Center. I knew when they transferred to Houston Medical Center, I knew it was very serious because, you know, they transferred from the McAllen area there, South Texas to East Texas, and they did several operations. She had a pacemaker. They thought that was working, and then but with blood clots, that's why blood clots are so dangerous. They get in your lungs and the heart, and then all kinds of horrible things happen. And they said, you know, poor Diana, she fought to the end there. And thanks again, we're all grieving the loss of her late great friend and moderator there, Diana. And it was so sudden, you know, just it shows you how quickly, just a week and a half ago, you know, we thought, you know, and she had to go to the emergency room, and then it leads to all this. And she was scared. I talked to her on Saturday and tried to keep her spirits up, but it was hard. Yeah, Diana created the chat group, the group. Also, Diana created that. See, no one knew who created that. Isn't that interesting? Remember when, yeah, and thanks for everybody for adding all her, see, we'll use that as a core to memorialize her, all the people that she wanted to message there. And Chippy, yeah, Chippy, thanks for tuning in there. Here, I'm missing people here. Krista, thanks for tuning in. And here, we're in Lincoln Park. Yeah, Rickman and Shisha, how you doing there? Yeah. And And here I'm trying to catch up on the comments here. Lambie T. Lorene, thanks for tuning in. So Lorene, yeah, I don't know if you remember Diana. I think you probably do. Diana was mainly on TikTok. Diana's been a moderator for me on TikTok since this time in 2023, 2 years. And she was on the original count with Chris and Anita and Diana, excuse me, Sarah. And we've lost Sarah. You remember when Sarah passed, and Sarah was my TikTok wife. she described herself that way. I didn't do that. And I was very, and Sarah was great. Sarah, Anita knows, Anita's running the mod team pretty much now. And Sarah ran the mod team, and she was ruthless. She was my best defender there, along with Diana and Chris and Anita. And, now all these my great moderators that are part of the team here now. And we expanded the moderator team. And so we like to think now that Diana is up there in heaven with Sarah and John James, and they're tuning in right now. They're watching these turtles here. Look at these turtles on the North Pond, and John James and Diana and Sarah loved the nature. They loved animals. Sarah was a great animal lover, as was Diana. Her little dog Gizmo. I'm sure Gizmo's grieving now too, and that's why I posted that video. That Diana posted that even before I met her. The video that's on my live feed, if you or the story. If you click on my icon, my logo there, it'll go to a video that Diana posted a few years ago where it's just that's Diana. She was admonishing us all to be positive and be nice to each other. Is that too much to ask? Look at these turtles. Yeah, sunbathing turtles. This is a nature preserve. And isn't it nice that it's a nice refuge for these turtles just to get out there and get some sun on the log, get warmed up. We're just under 60 degrees. We're probably 59. It's a little cool breeze off the lake. And yeah, let's head around here. Let's head around the South Pond here. Yeah. Oh, the Stain song. Did you hear that? Yeah, she did a good job. She actually kind of paused. She was conscious of the song, and she paused her speech to work with the song. Isn't that amazing? Yeah, thanks for noticing that. I figured you would notice that, very lucky guy. Yeah, it takes zero effort to be nice. I know. And the problem with it takes zero effort to be mean too. And that's when we realize so many things are just simple misunderstandings. I'll give you another case in point. Thanks, several people reached out to me. Pizza Lisa, Darren Monroe, and other people that I follow back. And they told me that there was somebody taking my content and reposting it and trying to monetize it. And I was like, what's going on? Someone's stealing my content. They were speeding up my voice, and they weren't citing me as the source. And I actually directly messaged them. I said, hey, I let people use my content and repost it all the time, but just cite me as a source there. Don't act like it's your own content. And they didn't even apologize or anything. They were actually proud of it. They said, oh, I got an account with 300K. And they eventually showed me what it was, and it was all this cooking stuff. Chris, listen, I don't know if Chris is tuning in. It was cooking stuff, and I'm like, you're just stealing other people's content and monetizing TikTok? They said, yeah, I make $1,000 a month off of this. They were proud of it. I'm like, so you're going to steal my content, monetize it, and not cite me as... They said, oh, is there anything wrong with that? And so I reported to TikTok. TikTok did nothing. They said, oh, this person's not in violations, even though... Darren Monroe and I were laughing about it. We'll post original content, and TikTok will say, this is not original content, even though it's my own voice. I recorded it and posted it myself. I'm like, who made it then? And then this person will steal our content, and their stupid AI can't even figure. But here, I got to the bottom of it. They said that their cooking account, it was blocked for 3 months. I said, hey, see, TikTok blocked it because I said, were you stealing other people's content? They're like, yeah. I'm like, well, don't you think that your account that you're stealing my content is going to get blocked? I'm like, stop doing it because they're going to block my account too. So I said, just steal some other people's content for a while. They're like, okay. This is the conversation I just had. Isn't this amazing? So here, welcome to Chicago. Welcome to Lincoln Park here. We're heading around here on a Friday. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. We're still saddened by the loss of our late great friend there, Donna. We got to talk about the Chicago Pope. We got so much to talk about here. Sounds like they're mowing the grass over there. I didn't realize they're mowing the grass. This makes for interesting. You were just over here yesterday? Yeah, business account there. Yeah, I saw Steve Lyon was here last night. I think Steve Lyon was streaming up by the Versey Harbor there. We'll head up that way. There's some nice views of the skyline. He was doing it at night there. We got so many live streamers. Yeah, that's when you know you made it. Yeah, I said, imitation is the best form of flattery. And that's what I found out. I said, why are you stealing my content? They said, well, we like your content. I said, well, cite me as the source. Don't just like use AI. I know people get so frustrated. When they get blocked because most of it's just misunderstandings. Like they thought they were joking, but what they sound to us sounds mean. Or people always request to go to some place and they don't realize that, you know, it's just, I don't know where this idea that, you know, I think it was those people that do the dance and people tell them to do stuff and they act like non-player non-NPCs, whatever they are. So they assume that like my channel's about like people tell me where to go when I go there. You know, that's not what it's about. But it's hard to explain what it's about. It's about nothing. But here, yeah, we'll head across the we were here this morning, but I want to see it with the bright sunshine here. See people are walking the dogs. Here's the Peggy Nodebart Nature Museum, the butterfly garden. People are climbing on the rocks here. You got this nice bridge. We'll head across here. Sounds like they're weed whipping there. But look at the beautiful redbud trees here and the nice little seating area here. There's the casting pier. And yeah, let's head through here. Look at the architect. We saw the sun coming through there this morning. And we went out to the casting pier. The water was so calm, the reflections in the water were just amazing here. Look, they're pruning the trees here. How you doing? Hey, you got a snake. You got a snake here. Look at this nice little butterfly outdoor garden here. Peggy Nodebart Nature Museum here, Lincoln Park, Chicago. We're north of Fullerton. We're west of Cannon Drive. We're by the North Pond. And look how beautiful this looks in the sunshine. They did all summer and fall. This will be beautiful flowers, tall grass prairie. See, all these flowers have yet to bloom. We're just seeing the new growth here of spring. Here we got May the 9th, 2025. Yeah. Ernie, thanks for being on there. Thanks everybody for helping out. And yeah, we'll keep on going here. Yeah. Look at these tulips. Wow, they're checking out. Hey, he's got a snake there. Yeah, they're checking out the tulips. There's some kids running around. Look at that. They all got snakes. Everybody's got snakes. Look at that. That's great. Hey, everybody's got snakes. Hey, everybody got a snake. That's great. Yeah, running with the snake. Here's this little, yeah. The last few years, they haven't been filling this up with water. You know, this is actually like a little fountain here. I call it the frog pond, but hopefully they'll turn it back on. Here's the North Pond. Yeah, one day it'll switch to summer. That's usually how it happens. Like it's cold, and then it'll be 90, and you have to get the air conditioning. And you're like, what happened? I had the heat on one week, and now I got the, like it was 39 degrees this morning. You know, May the 9th, 39 degrees. But here, Peggy Nodebart Nature Museum, North Pond here. I like just walking through here. And this is why I paid a high rent here to live in this park. My father rightly says, because I'm a country boy, lives in the city, and people often ask me, say, how do you stand living in the city? I said, I live next to this big park. Walk by this big lake. You know, look at the geese here. Yeah, Christopher's tuning in there. You got rain in New York? Yeah, well, hopefully the sunshine's heading your way. We got a nice sunny forecast coming up here in the weekend there. Yeah, check out Christopher Dotson there in New York City there. That's great. And nature heals the soul. Yeah, you got to get out and get some fresh air. And that's even the zoo's nice. Hey, there's some turtles. Hey, we're gonna see some more turtles. So look at that across the way there. The Lucy in the Garage thing. Oh, I'm not making you sick. They're zooming in and out. Yeah, let's count the turtles here. Let's see if we can zoom in here. So North Pond. Look at the reflections of the building in the water. And if I zoom in, looky there. How many turtles do you see? Let's see if we can keep zooming in further. We got to get closer. Let's get a little closer because there's some over there too. Look at those turtles. Yeah, let's get over there. And like we said, we got four beavers were spotted by Jennifer You Should Eat 2 weeks ago at the South Pond. I saw 2. We saw 1 last week. So we'll be on the lookout for beavers. But here's the turtles. Yeah, let's zoom into these turtles here. Let's see if I go right here. Right there. There we go. That's where we want to go. How many turtles do we count here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. At least 9. 9 turtles. And sometimes you see a snapper. Now there's some over here. How many turtles we count here? 1, 2, 3. Whoa. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I see at least 10. You see 10? So here we got almost 20 turtles here hanging out on the logs there. You see that, Rob, on the road there, Christy? You get 92? You're getting 92 Mojave Desert. Yeah, it's starting to heat up. D. Michael, thanks for tuning in there. Karen, the turtle family, yeah. Yeah, look at that. My handle throws you off. Yeah, how you doing there? Yeah. So there you can look back to the Sears Tower. There we go. So we're about 3.5 miles north of the Sears Tower. There it is. Yeah, happy Friday. There you go. So here, let's keep going here. Hey, there's some more turtles over here. Yeah, let's see. The Chicago Lakefront and Birding Trail. I have seen people out here with binoculars. We did have some owls. We used to have some owls here, but the owls died last year because they tried to poison the rats. And because they tried to poison the rats, they poisoned the owls. And the bird watchers told me about that. And so here, we got some more turtles. Look at these turtles. There, myrtle turtle, where you got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, at least a dozen, 13, maybe 14 turtles there. Yeah, I need a entire family of turtles there. Yeah, we got all these turtles here. This is Turtle Pond. It's not the North Pond, it's the Turtle Pond. Look at that. Views on your YouTube name? Yeah. Manuelise, where is this? I know you got to be careful when you're watching my page because people are always like, where's this at? Where's this at? Hey, there's some more turtles there even. Yeah, there's some turtles down on that log. Every log has some turtles on it. It's a turtle city in Lincoln Park. Look at those. Hey, there's some big ones. Look at that. Sometimes you'll see a snapper. The snappers are even bigger than this. If you see chonk or one of those big snappers, they're gargantuan. Their necks and everything's are different. These are just regular, like, box turtles or whatever they call them there. Yeah. Yeah, how's it going, everybody? Lorene and Michael, and thanks for checking out the turtles here. Yeah, nice little pastoral walk here. Hey, you got little baby turtles and big ones. Getting that sun. That water's still cold. Yeah, riding the bike. See, we've lost so many trees. Michael, how you doing there? Yeah, Turtle Town, you got it. Yeah, Turtle City here. Yeah, Lorene and I remember that all the Catholic churches around where southeast Indiana there. Remember they used to have turtle soup suppers, and when we were younger, it was real turtle soup. Like my father's uncles and stuff, they would hunt turtles and noodle for turtles and get the big snappers and stuff, and they would really eat turtle meat, but then they kind of put the kibosh on that because of the protected nature of the turtles. Now they do mock turtle soup where it's chicken. It's just the dark meat of the chicken, because I guess turtle tastes like dark meat chicken. But they have turtle soup suppers for the fundraisers for the Catholic churches and all those German farming communities, southeast Indiana. And anybody ever have turtle soup? I don't want to make anybody sick here watching the real turtles. Hey, look at that. Look at that. Yeah, the penguins. Yeah, the penguins are happy because it's cold. The polar bear's probably out. Yeah, Lorene, you know what I'm talking about. Look at these turtles. Man, that's some big one. Oh, it just went in. It just went in. It's warmed up enough to go for a swim. There, that one. Oh, they all jumped in. They heard me talking. I guess I'm talking too loud. These ones are staying here, though. I'm not bothering these ones. There's the duck. So the duck's on this one. There's the lonely duck. Look at those turtles, yeah. Hey, thanks for tuning in, checking out the turtles. Exciting stuff. Very, very controversial content, I know. We'll see if someone steals this content. I'm like, I can't monetize it. How could you? Maybe you'll have better luck. Yeah, you can build my account up to 300,000 there by stealing my content. Here's, I call this the Hobbit house. This is like a, there's pumping equipment in here, I think. They have pumps that, see that aerates the water there. It kind of bubbles up there. And in the wintertime, the ice will be, there'll be a hole there because there's pumping equipment, and that's the Hobbit hole. But here, let's look at the beautiful, is this crepe myrtle? Is that what this is? Look at this beautiful flowering spring trees here. Everybody's having a good spring here. Yeah, people are out in shorts here. Yeah, look at the nice buildings here across the way. It's nice sometimes, you know, I thought about going into like Fullerton and Lincoln, but then, you know, you talk over the traffic, it builds you up into a frenzy. Every intersection you got to cross traffic. Sometimes it's nice just to walk through the park. The worst thing you got to deal with was bikes, or, you know, you don't have to cross any streets for a while, and it's nice. Yeah, the smell is beautiful, very fragrant, very, very spring-like. The floral, fragrant. And so these are getting ready to, there's some, you see what these things look like, the little onions there, they're gonna pop, be some flowers here. Yeah, we'll head up on, we'll go up to the Oglesby Hill here. Here's the North Pond. This is a nice dining option if you're looking for a romantic date. I'm sure Nia Azel would cover this. There's a guy watering the roof. I didn't notice it there. There's this nice view to the Chicago skyline there. Look at that. Looking back towards Michigan Avenue skyline where we usually walk. Happy Friday here, and then we can pan over this way. Look at that. Yeah, you're right. 55 degrees is short weather, especially in the sun. And that's what we had this morning. See, we got some bike riders here. We got a guy. He's watering the pots there. They got all the pots out there, getting out the little pots for springtime. The outdoor patio here. And see some. Yeah, we walked over there this morning, so we'll go this way. We'll go around the North Pond here. This nice view you get for the North Pond Cafe. Yeah, guitar there. Smell-o-vision. Yeah, we need the Willy Wonka smell-o-vision. Wild meats, tastes like chicken, yeah. Get that snake meat, yeah. Bizarre meats. What's that? See, there's like, it's like a possum. I think that's I didn't mean to show you that. I didn't know what it was there. Here it is. So here we'll head up. Hey, we got yellow dandelions. Look at the nice little hill here. Letting the grass grow up into seed here. So there's a nice view. See, if you look this way, that's the Elks Memorial. You know what? What is it, 12:37? Maybe we'll go into the Elks Memorial. Let me see what the Elks Memorial hours are. If it stays open late enough, we'll do it on TikTok. But let's see here. Hold on a second. I'm searching for something in my other phone here. Elks National Memorial headquarters. Here we go. Closes at 4, but it's open. It's open now. So you know what? I'm sure most of you have seen the inside of the Elks there. Let me see if I got a few dollars for the donation here. Especially if I film there, I try to donate some money so they're okay with me filming there. Yeah, I got a 5. This will be perfect. Okay, good. Yeah, let's head over to the Elks here. If you don't mind staying on, we'll head over to the Elks Memorial because it's so beautiful inside there. We can go to the Oak Room, and it hasn't been open for a while. And we got footage on it. We'll head right over there, yeah. Yeah, I'm not trying to make you lose your job there. Thanks, Christy. Appreciate it. Well, you can always watch the reruns, but I know it's always better watching it live because you can interact in real time. And here, let's head down to the Elks Memorial here. We got 12:38. So they shut down the Elks Memorial in the winter time, and they usually from April, end of April to end of October, they'll have it open during the day. It's got a weird schedule. I don't know if it's open on weekends or not, but it's just beautiful inside there. This neoclassical Roman temple, and then they got this oak room in the back. And I'm just, you know, for years I would walk by it and would never go in. It's like one of those things. And one day I went in and I was like, why did I never go inside this? You know, and here's this playground. They got a playground. The kids are leaving it here, so I'm filming the playground instead of the kids leaving it here. So, yeah, you want Michael, you know what it is. You've seen the Elks Memorial there. So we'll head right over there. But they got this nice new playground they've added here. They moved it. It used to be further this way. And we'll head through the trees here. So there's some of the high-rise housing here. And hey, there's the golden Hamilton statue there. We go by that sometimes. That's the Mies van der Rohe residential buildings there behind her. There's the Goethe statue. So you can see the Goethe statue, which is to the right behind the golden Hamilton statue. And Goethe is spelled G-O-E-T-H-E. I know, don't ask me why, it's a German spelling. Hey, she's doing some yoga there. Yoga under the trees. But they got this big meadow. A lot of times in the summertime, people bring their dogs out here. They got this nice view back to the skyline. They let them run around. Tara, how you doing there? Beautiful day, yeah. Oh, it's perfect. Yeah, look at the blue skies. 60 degrees. Let's check out the Elks Memorial. Tara, you just in time here. We're going to go check out the Elks Memorial. It's open again. Remember, we've gone inside there before. And thanks again, everybody, for your kind words about Diana there. And we'll keep on trucking here. See, look at that view. You can look all the way back to the John Hancock, the South Pond. Oh no, that's the North Pond. I always do that. I always confuse right and left, north and south. My brain says one thing and my mouth says something else. Look at these. There's these crepe myrtle. What are these trees? Dogwoods? We got some dandelions here. So here, this is called Stockton. It runs through the park. And it's one of the few places you can park for free. So if you find street parking here, you don't have to pay for the zoo park. You just have to walk a little bit. And you can walk to the lake. Some of these buildings have pools, swimming pools at the top. Yeah, honk bonk. Yeah, we got the same problem there. Taco's tuning in. Taco jalapeno salsa. Thanks again, everybody. Thanks for tuning in here. Yeah, we got the band back together here at Lunch Bunch. So this is Lakeview. Lakeview becomes Sheridan once you cross north of Diversey there. They redid this building here. It used to be like a halfway house. Now I think it's market rate apartments. I'm not for sure. But here we'll head up to the Elks. So the Elks, they got the history in here. The Elks was formed after World War I. It was a Veterans Association club, and they expanded it after World War II. So they added so many members, and then I guess people even You know, and you don't have to be a veteran or military to join. It's just a fraternal organization. And you know what, there's the Masons, there's the Kiwanis, the Elks, you know, all these Rotary Club, whatever, these organizations that try to provide civic leadership and philanthropy. And they built this as a memorial to the people that fell in World War I. They built it in the 1920s. They got pictures in there. This is the national headquarters. They have offices, so I guess they, you know, the offices that maintain their memberships and dues and everything. And see how this gate's open. Here's the Elks Veterans Memorial and National Headquarters of the Benevolent and Protective Order of the Elks of the USA. And there it is. And they built this neoclassical Roman temple. It's like the Pantheon. When we get inside here, you'll see what it is here. So here's Monday through Saturday, 12 to 4. So it's only open for 4 hours a day, Monday through Saturday. That's why we're going to check it out. And let me get my money here. Open to the public. And there'll be some greeters here, and we'll see if it's okay for me to film in here, which it was the last time. I don't know why it wouldn't be. And we'll show you what this looks like. So here I'm just getting my money out here. But here it is. Look at that. What a beautiful day here. You see where it's at. See, there's the Goethe statue. There's St. Joseph's Hospital over there. That's 2800 North Lake Shore. Mies van der Rohe buildings. Diversey. And we're at Lakeview, which becomes Sheridan. So there's the Elks Memorial here. Lincoln Park, Chicago. Look at that. Here it is. So right, see, they usually have a table here. They got some pins, $2. You can buy a pin there. Look at these Grecian urns here. And right off the bat, you get this amazing rotunda and that oculus that lets light down here. And here's the Elks Memorial here, Lincoln Park, Chicago. Look at that. Dolores, you're just in time. We made it to the Elks here, so hopefully you can stick on a little bit and check this out. Maybe you've seen this before. And look, well, all the way around here, you got beautiful, and the artists, they got a whole, you know, a whole wing. It goes through the artists and the sculptors that produce this stuff, and they paid them to do it. Stained glass windows. And this is all like mythological references to Roman ideals and war. You know, look at that, the chariots. And look at these stained glass windows. Here, you know. And see, they're restoring it. Look, they're working on fidelity here. These are the sculptures here. So we got fidelity, we got justice, and you see how they got military displays. We'll check this out. And then over here's where we entered. Here's the door that you go in. Here's where they were constructing it. They got all historical, documentary photos of when they were constructing it in the 1920s. See that? Look at that. See, they're building the dome. Look at the Model A's and the Model T's. Look at the cars here. That's what it used to look like here. But here's the charity. Heroes have always been cowboys. Yeah. Well, we got some chariots here. And here's brotherly love. These classic ideals. I'm trying to memorialize here. But the materials used. This is one of the most expensive and well-built buildings in Chicago. And then you go to the Oak Room. So, you hear that? $12.46. This is called the Oak Room. And if you ever seen pictures of Versailles when they signed the armistice, the 11th hour, the 11th day, the 11th month, or whatever, in 1919, the end of World War I, this is supposed to be like something you would see in Versailles. And look at that ceiling. And this is called the Oak Room within the Elks National Monument here. And this is open to the public from noon until 4, Mondays through Saturdays. in the summer months. That was what was ringing. This grandfather clock was what was chiming there. Look at these candelabras. Look at that inlaid wood. They got the little cherubs. And look at that. Look at these chandeliers. Isn't this amazing? So this is called the Elks National Monument. It's the Elks headquarters in Lincoln Park, Chicago. And this is called the Oak Room. It's in the back of it. So we just got here, and we'll tootle around here a little bit. We got 12:47. I don't have to end this at 1 because I didn't get started early or on time. See how these paintings, it's World War I, and that's when they originally created this. And here this tells us about it. It's called the Armistice, the Field of Battle. Eugene Francis Savage, that's the artist. Yeah, the architect Egerton Swarthout. You got it, and we'll show you a picture of him. They got him and some of the sculptors, male and female, in the 1920s that produced this artwork. And see, the offices are back here, and they got it roped off here because they do have offices, and I guess they use this for certain things here. And but here, let's head back through here. Look at the stained glass windows. Look at that. Look at this. Look, it's just, for a content creator outside of Europe, where do you get stuff like this, you know? It's only churches and Elks National Monument. Here's stuff in Washington, D.C. Look at this chair. Yeah. Yeah, Taco. Thanks everybody. And LaQuisha, how you doing there? This is what you think of this? Yeah, how you doing? Look at the look at that Oculus. Yeah. Oh, these apps will never cease to amaze me. Yeah, Manuel, thanks for checking it out here. Appreciate it. And see, you know, there is a basement. There is stuff down there. I think there's restrooms and stuff. Yeah, they got sculptures here. If you like these mythological creatures there, they got a minotaur, and they got a, what is that? Earth. They got a guy with goat legs there. What is that called? A fawn? Yeah. Conservation of the bronze eagle. Yeah. So they can walk down the side here. They got little gardens and stuff. Look at these little courtyards on the side. Can you see that? Yeah, they got like a little courtyard here. Windows. I guess we can go. I don't think I've ever walked back here. You got some offices and stuff. Yeah, you can get to the front there. So look at that. You can look back through the little courtyard here. Inside. I'll just quickly breeze through here. I'm just trying to see where this goes, if this goes all the way around. Yeah, it does. It goes all the way around. So look, you can look out towards Lincoln Park there. There's some stairs that go up. Here they got a little courtyard here. And here we'll head back into the main rotunda of the Elks National Monument here, Elks National Memorial here, Lincoln Park, Chicago. Look at that. Completely beautiful, memorable visit. Oh yeah, deeper dive. I could spend like a whole hour here, and we should do that sometime. Now that it's back open, we'll be back here, I'm sure, a few times this summer. And but the materials used, you can research this. There's all kinds of internet articles that'll tell you about it. I think Charlton Heston filmed a movie here. It was before he did the Ten Commandments. They did some black and white movie about the Roman Empire. And Charlton Heston was in it before probably even before Ben-Hur, and they used this in the movie. And I got to get the name of the movie. See how they got the Wall of Honor here? They got all the patrons. They showed the military. And yeah, yesterday was VE Day, Victory in Europe Day for World War II, and we honor those that served and families that had members that served. You got a coat rack here. Here, we'll show you the architects and the sculptors if we go over here to this side. But there, they're restoring it. They're restoring the fidelity here. They're working on it. Constant maintenance. Yeah, if you head to this wing, we'll show you the pictures of the architect and some of the artists here. Yeah, there's a lot of military history items here. There he is, Egerton, oops, let me get the glare there. Okay, right there. Egerton Swartwout. How's that for a blue blood name? Look at that. Architect. There, Eugene Savage. So he's the one that did the paintings that we saw in the Oak Room. He did the paintings and the murals. And here's Laura Garden Frazier. She's a sculptor. She did all the sculptures, Fidelity, Brotherly Love, that they're restoring there, and some of the other sculptures in this facility here. So here, we'll show it to you again here. Julius Caesar, there you go. Thanks, very lucky guy. Thanks for the good information. Isn't it amazing? They filmed Julius Caesar here, and you see why they use this. It looks like a Roman pantheon. It's like the one you visit in Rome there. And that's what it was modeled off of, these octagons. Look at these paintings here. I got to show these paintings here before we... So we'll be back here. See, they got a little scale model of it here. Look at these paintings. And we'll show the Oak Room one last time if somebody missed it here, since I'm right back here. But yeah, he did the... you see the light comes on. The light times out. So if you go in here, if you do a motion, maybe oh, there we go. See, there the lights turned on, so it noticed I was in here. So here's the Oak Room, and there's the paintings by Savage here. Savage. Am I? Look at the Oak Room here. Back all the way up. We'll line that up there. Look at that. Yeah. How you doing there? Let's get the ceiling there. Look at that. I feel like royalty. I feel like royalty that I can just waltz in here, and half a mile from where I live here, we can just walk up here and hang out. Be surrounded by these amazing aesthetics. And you know how much it would cost to build this nowadays? This would cost hundreds of millions of dollars. Literally. Just the materials, you know. They didn't chimp on the materials. They raised a lot of money to build this thing. Look at they had to go, the lengths they had to go through to build the dome there. It's amazing. Hey, I'm glad you're back open. Thanks so much. That's great, man. Yeah, I'll be back. Thank you so much. That's great. Yeah, that's great. Look how heavy these doors are. These are real cast iron doors here. They're steel doors. I mean, it's amazing how heavy those doors are to protect this. So hey, it's pretty good here. Yeah, thankfully this was built after the Emancipation Proclamation, after the Civil War. This was built in the 1920s. So, you know, Chicago still had an amazing amount of artisans, you know, and architects and sculptors and, you know, craftsmen to build this stuff, you know, and they were paid probably not as much as they should have been, you know. It probably was immigrant labor. And that's the history of Chicago right there. So here we'll show you this boulevard thing, and then we'll walk back the other side of the North Pond here. I got to get back to work. I won't end it right at 1. I'll walk all the way back to my place, so we'll end at about 1:20-ish. So here's Lincoln Park. See, this shows the boulevards. Okay, look at this map here. Lincoln Park, opened to the public 1860. That's what the look. That's what the old swan boats used to look like that went by the zoo here. And 1880s and 90s, Lincoln Park with dormant floral displays. There's the original. That's the original pond there. Clark, Franklin. They called it Franklin. That was Wisconsin. So Fullerton didn't even go through there. Now this is later. Fullerton went through here. This is Lincoln Park. So there's these. See, the South Pond used to go all the way up into the zoo where the Swan Pond, they closed it off. And so that no longer exists, that bridge. Jen talks about it. This used to be the cemetery. See how the lagoon, see how Outer Drive, it was just a promenade. It wasn't a highway then. It was so people could drive their carriages there, and there was a bridge here. And this is where Fullerton, and now then they built a new island. They made Diversey Harbor. That used to be part of the lake. So where Diversey Harbor is used to be part of the lake, and they built land out here, so there's more land. And now Lakeshore Drive goes out here, and north is that way. Look, see that's what Lakeshore Drive used to look like. It used to just be a place you could drive your horses and your carriages there. Here's where they're removing the bodies. Cemetery relocation, 1870s. They actually got pictures of it. And we always taught the history of Lincoln Park. See, there's the Elks Memorial. We just went in there. And yeah, 3 million in 1926 is 53 million now. That's amazing. Yeah, the Grant statue is, see, this is the Hamilton statue. The Grant statue's down by the South Pond, and we show that often when I walk to work. We're about a mile north, or half a mile north of the Grant statue. But and I never post reruns of it because we walk by it so often. So if you watch my live streams, you'll eventually see the Grant statue. We walk by it often on my commute to and from work. So here, we'll go by the Hamilton statue here, and then we'll head back down to the North Pond here. Look how they're crossing the line. I walked the line. Here's Alexander Hamilton. This is real gold leaf. They turned him around about 10 years ago. They was completely removed. They cleaned him up, put some gold leaf on him, turned him around. He used to face the other way, looking towards the skyline. Now he's looking towards Cannon Drive, because they want people to be able to see him when they drive towards Lakeshore Drive. Here's the Alexander Hamilton statue here. This is Lincoln Park, Chicago. See, there's Lakeview. We just checked out the Elks Memorial. If you missed it, you can rewind this. Check out the rerun there. Thanks for tuning in here. 92 people. You guys are great. Thanks for being a live YouTube audience. There, Kate. So you see, okay, so what? You know how tomorrow they're going to turn on the Buckingham Fountain. So what's that say down there? It says, a gift of Kate Sturgis Buckingham. That's the same woman that donated money as a philanthropist to create the Buckingham Fountain. So it's not named after the British Buckingham Palace. It's named after her. Such a cool name there, Buckingham. Alexander Hamilton statue here, Lincoln Park, Chicago. No, I don't know where Lincoln Park got their band name. I don't think it's from Lincoln Park because they spell it different. You can look that up on Wikipedia. Type in Linkin Park. They spell it differerly. There's a band called Lincoln Park. But it'd be cool if they did. Yeah, I think they're from the West Coast. And there's like a Fullerton. Like I live off of Fullerton Parkway, and there's a Fullerton suburb in LA. There's probably a Lincoln Park in LA. There's a Lincoln Park in a lot of communities. There's Lincoln Parks in Mississippi because of the viral video there. Here's but here we'll head right back down to the North Pond here. Yeah, Lincoln Park in Santa Monica. There you go. Thank you. Thanks for the good information. I know my California friends would come through here. Thanks for helping out there. But the auto spell, it would always want it when they would do the annotations for my TikToks. I would say Lincoln Park, and it always spell it like the band. It wouldn't spell it like the president, or it was just, so the band was, they would default to the band spelling instead of the president. Isn't that amazing? Yeah, there's a band called Chicago. You got it, yeah. Yeah. So, and here, let's head amongst the spring foliage here. We'll head back down to the pond. Yeah, be modern. You love that band? Yeah, Ernesto. Yeah, Ernie. See, this is what people usually, they get to bring their dogs out here. This goes on all summer long here. People bring their dogs out here, let them off the leash so they can run around. And dogs can be social, the people can be social. Yeah, Metallica. Jeff Hickman, Metallica fan, would know that. Professor Oak, how you doing there? Hey, we're running with the dogs here. Yeah. Round and round they go. Hey, you got the ball there. Yeah. How you doing there, doggies? Yeah. That's great. So here, we'll, yeah, look at these trees here. Nice to see green leaves here. Yeah, the weather forecast for the weekend to me is picture perfect. 65 degrees and sunshine. And they're going to light the Buckingham Fountain tomorrow, or turn on the Buckingham Fountain. I guess there's some lights at night. Jay, City Walking Girl, already posted a rerun from when they turned it off. It was Halloween. She went down there after the Halstead Halloween parade that I filmed too. And she caught the last day when they turned it off. So that's a nice way to segue into them turning it on this year. Look at that. 4th of July. Yeah. Saturday in the park. You think it was the 4th of July? Yeah. James Earl Frazier. That's good. So Christopher, this is still Lincoln Park. Lincoln Park is a really large park. Just like Lincoln Park is larger than Central Park. And it's long and narrow. It runs up the whole North Shore, north of the Gold Coast, all the way up to Edgewater. It actually goes up to Osterman Beach. And, you know, the Lakeshore Drive runs along the lakefront. There's many beaches, golf courses. No, one golf course, 9-hole driving range, ball fields. There's a whole zoo here, many museums, and ball fields and nature, boardwalks. We got all kinds of stuff here. Yeah, you know, again, if I got $1 for every time someone asks me if something's safe, you know, just because I say something's safe or not doesn't mean it's safe or not. Thanks for asking my opinion. You know, to me, I consider it safe. I luckily, knock on wood, maybe it'll happen today. I've lived in Chicago for 26 years. I've been walking through this park night, middle of the night, drunk, daytime, live streaming. Every once in a while you encounter somebody, you know, an house person or somebody in distress mode yelling or screaming, you know, just typical urban stuff. But I've never really felt threatened. I've never been mugged here. Again, knock on wood. It can happen. I mean, there was somebody murdered just a few blocks that way. It kind of shook up Lincoln Park there. It was totally random. No one even knows a motive. See, it was just like over like Amazon boxes. It didn't make any sense. You know, it's such a shame that something's, you know, just somebody stealing a few $100 worth of Amazon boxes could lead to somebody losing their life over what? And, you know, it's the world we live in. So, you know, there's dangers to everything you do. Is anything safe? Name me something that's 100% safe. You know, look at these geese here. These little baby geese. They got snapping turtles here, you know. And not all of them make it, you know. The world's a dangerous place. You know, here, I don't want to anger these. Here's the, look at these nice little geese here. So here, let's go around here, because I don't want to make a move here. If I walk through there, they'll hiss at me, and you don't want to mess with the mother goose there. They'll get you, just like the swans. I'm more worried about geese and coyotes getting me than people. Here's the, oh, look at, so we got some turtles here. Look at that. There's the geese and the turtles hanging out. See, geese and turtles can coexist just like the ducks. And look at these baby geese. We're seeing, how you doing there? There's the baby geese here. Lincoln Park. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 baby geese. Are these the same ones we saw earlier? Yeah, look at those fuzzy little goslings there. Oh, look at that. Yeah. Yeah, Ernie, that's a good way to put it. There's risk to everything. There's risk to riding a roller coaster. There's risk to taking the L train. There's risk to getting on a plane. I feel more in danger when I'm on a highway, you know, and I'm old enough that if you're riding a motorcycle, yeah, you might be in the right, but then somebody will run you off the road, you know, road rage. I'm more worried about people attacking me for live streaming, because some people don't like live streaming, and they see a live streamer and they get fighting mad. And that's what's going to do me in. Here's the housing here, but that's a good question. We get it often, and it's always on people's minds, you know. And isn't it amazing that the change of the administration, I don't feel any safer than I did under the last 4 years than right now, you know. And you know, the city's just as dangerous now as it was before. So America's just as great or not as great as it was. It's just in your, it's all on our minds. Here's the look at that. There's the turtles here. And see how it's kind of shallow here. They did that on purpose. They did these like shallow and deep areas of the pond to get different ecology, different biomes here for different aquatic life and fish. It's called, oh, okay. Yeah, Manuel Lewis, every time I see your name, I think you're asking a question. And maybe that's yeah, so people, you don't have to ask it. It's nice. It's a nice name. It just throws me off, just like Michael. You know, it's just that's fine. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you being here. And yeah, let's film these turtles here. We're just heading around the North Pond here, Lincoln Park, Chicago. Look at that. Hanging out with the turtles. No, it's fine. It's fine, man, Willie Lewis. You know, it's fine. I just have to remember it's you. Cesar, yeah. Gonna go on a Friday afternoon. Henry Bassard there, yeah. So hey, see, we were over by the, there's the North Pond Cafe. We were over there earlier. Yeah. Yeah, it's typically safe to visit. Yeah, you know, just keep your street smarts. You know, if you go to New York City or Chicago or LA, San Francisco, it's the big bad city. I don't care if you go to Houston, Texas or Dallas, Texas. There's sketchy areas all over. Even Austin, which is not that bad, but Las Vegas can be creepy at times too, especially now since there's not as many tourists going there. And, you know, the homeless population is growing. All the warmer weather areas. But here, look at the lawn here. We got my nice, beautiful sun here. We got some benches here. Look at this tree. It's a cottonwood tree. Look at that bark. Look at how thick that bark is there. That's a 150-year-old tree here in Lincoln Park. Look at the redwoods here. How you doing? Hey, there's some geese over there. Yeah, the nice housing. Sean, how you doing there? Grim Evil. Scarlet. Yeah. Yeah, you gotta have your head on swivel. That doesn't matter wherever you're at. And you know, it's good if you're in a group. It helps to be in a group. Helps. Don't wear earphones at night. You know, people could sneak up on you. Don't look like a tourist. You know, it's you know, it's hard to do. And sometimes I get mistaken as a tourist because I got this gimbal, and people they were like, "Why would somebody film this? They must be a tourist." I look like a hillbilly from the Appalachians, because it's pretty much what I am, living in the city here, or at least a German country farmer from the cornfields there. That's me. Here's hey, the North Pond here. But it's a beautiful day. If you can get out this weekend, we've been waiting for this all winter long, and it's finally here. So we'll cover them turning on the Buckingham Fountain tomorrow. We'll head back downtown, and probably tonight we'll figure out something to do here. Yeah, keep your eyes on the road and the hands upon the wheel. Do errands early in the day. Yeah, that's good. No one will mess with you. Yeah, it's a beautiful day there. Grim Evil, our man from Joliet. Yeah, I saw Drew was like, he was chopping up his He was doing yard work. He was clearing brush there. He was like back in the woods sawing stuff. He had his ear protection on. He always does things safely. And yeah, there's the whole Peggy Notabart Nature Museum. We walked over there. There, look at these cute dogs. See, you come out to the park here and walk your dog. Yeah, we'll head right back over here. So 112. See, they got this tall grass natural prairie area here. They're letting it grow up. And this will look really beautiful later in the season here. It'll be yellow and purple flowers. Brown-eyed Susans and all that stuff. No, okay, good question. Tomorrow I'll be on TikTok. So I'll cover the Buckingham Fountain there on TikTok. I know some people here on YouTube are not on TikTok. I apologize for that. I have to, you know, I've already announced it on TikTok. For some reason, I got 90,000 followers on TikTok and I only got 4,000 here on YouTube. The vast majority of my audience on TikTok does not watch on YouTube, will never watch on YouTube. And they probably don't even watch on TikTok either. And but we'll do it on TikTok, and maybe I'll find a way to transfer the footage to YouTube so the people on YouTube can see it. And Mulholland Drive here. I'm in Germany now, yeah. Well, Lincoln Park did used to be, historically, was a German-American enclave. That's why the Goethe statue's over there. And we got a Schiller statue. We got streets that are named after German things. And churches. Here's the water fountain here. But here, we'll head down this path. We'll wrap this up. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Yeah, we'll be on TikTok tomorrow. Good question. TikTok tomorrow for the Buckingham Fountain. They'll turn it on tomorrow. Should be noon. They'll be giving speeches. So last year they didn't get it started until like 12:15, but maybe this year they'll be on time. Because politicians and corporate sponsors get talking and they won't stop, and they got to get their captive audience and put their plug in, or whatever they're doing here. Yeah, Ernie, hope to see you tomorrow. Yeah, we'll look for you, Ernie, there. I think you're going to be down there streaming there. Yeah, check out Ernie. Ernie's a live streamer here. Edwin, I don't know if anybody else is going to be down there. We might run into this Gemini, or Chris Presents, or we might run into some other YouTube. And yeah, if you need to watch it on YouTube, if you follow me and like my Chicago content on YouTube and you don't have TikTok, please follow this Gemini. Type in this_Gemini, like the Gemini AI, Gemini like the Strolling. Thousands of videos of Chicago content on YouTube, and either of those guys might be covering it tomorrow live, or this Gemini usually records it and posts it later. See, that's the difference. We do it live, and I might see him there, but you might not see the video until later. But at least you'll be able to see it. You'll be able to see it recorded. It'll be the whole thing. And so if you like my content and you can't watch on TikTok, follow those other people, and there's ways for you to still see it without going through my YouTube account here. And look at this housing here. We'll cross over here. We'll check this out. And 2440 North Lakeview, these co-op buildings. Look at how they added the windows there. Some of them have balconies on the side. I want to show you these. I'll walk over to Fullerton and show you. There's these large fire escapes that go down these 17-story buildings that form interesting shadow patterns. That's the bottom of it. If we walk through here, there's these. I'll show you from the bottom, and then we'll look at it from the side. Hopefully they're okay with me walking through here. See, look at the scale of these fire escapes in these buildings, you know, and once you see it from the side, you see why I showed it this way, because this is a carport. They can pull through the back and have parking behind these buildings. And this is all on Lakeview and Fullerton here, Lincoln Park, Chicago. Hey, thanks, Jim. Thanks for tuning in. Karen, Michael. Thanks everybody. Thanks for checking out the Elks Memorial. That was great. NK. Yeah. And so NK can't even enjoy this. NK, if you can't enjoy this, you can't enjoy anything. So I feel sorry for you. Thanks for tuning in. And I know you're sitting there just burning you up. You can't stand that we're having a good time here, you know. You made my day. See, they got a pool here. They got a nice pool here. See, there we're starting to see those fire escapes. Look how they got some balconies. Look at that. Would you like to have that balcony? It just hangs over the side there. Would you trust that balcony? Look how the windows are all. This is the bottom of the Mies van der Rohe building, 2400 North Lakeshore. This is a true international style, modernist residential building. And you can look right through the bottom there. And this is Fullerton, 2400 North. Lakeview becomes Sheridan. This is where it ends. It ends in this building here, this French Renaissance revival. And there's the patricians walking the dog here. Look at the bottom of that there. Look at that. That's Italian Renaissance revival. So this is Italian Renaissance revival. This is French Renaissance revival. And then this is international style. And this is some weird neoclassical. I don't know what it is. Art Deco. This is a true Art Deco. We'll show you that. We'll show you the amazing relief here where this UPS truck. Here's Cafecito. Cafecito is a Cuban restaurant. You get the cafe. They got the nice steaks, skirt steak stuff. But look at those fire escapes. Look at that fire escape. Look at that on the side of that building there. And when I see people stopping to take pictures in the evening when the shadows take hold, and many amateur photographer will say, I got a Pulitzer winning photography shot of that, the shadows on those fire escapes, and they'll stop and take pictures of that. But look at that. When the light hits this, look at this. This is the terracotta that, I wonder if this was produced at the Northwestern Terracotta Company that Jen always talks about. Look at those panels, those spandrel panels. They go all the way up the top there. And each one's a little different. They kind of do repeat, but, oh, I can't turn. Okay, good. The gimbal's not cooperating here. Look at that. Oh, yeah. So this is 17 stories straight up, 18 stories straight up. And it's amazing that they put the detail way at the top. Nobody can see it, but there's detail up there. And then look here. And they had scaffolding here a few years ago after COVID, and some graffiti tagger tagged this building. They had to sandblast, or they had to spray it off. They put graffiti on top of this Art Deco tiles, and we were just like, you know. So, but the New Balance store is supposed to be coming back, and here's Clark and Fullerton here. Thanks for tuning in. There's the Five Guys. We'll see when this New Balance starts. That's art. Yeah, look at that. Look at that Art Deco. Here, this is the 415 Fullerton building, just west of Clark Street on Fullerton. This whole block of residential, and these were all built in 1929, right before the crash. And you know, it took until 1964 for them to build this. And there used to be a residential mansion there that they tore down. Can you believe it? So hey, thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll be on TikTok after 5 tonight. Thanks again everybody for your kind words for Diana there, and we'll support her family. I'll send an update if we got any info about the funeral arrangements, or if there's going to be a memorial or anything. And we're letting the family grieve here, and we'll get you some more information later. Hey, how you doing? Thanks for saying that. That's great. Pretty good. Thanks for saying hello. See, friends and neighbors, here we are, and that is great. So have a great day there. We'll see you later. Thanks, Michael and Anita, Ernie. Thanks everybody. And check out the rerun there, Taco. Thanks for being on Honk Bonk. If I missed anybody, Lorene, thanks for being on. Scott, we'll see you later there. Thanks a lot, everybody. From Chicago, we'll see you after 5 on TikTok. Have a great day. Enjoy this weather here. This is great.